Hello, welcome to another edition of the Cory Sauter Show here at Marshall's Studio One, Marshall Cable Access Channel, and smsumustangs.com. I'm Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University, and glad you could join us again this week. This week we'll talk Mustang football again with the head coach, Cory Sauter, as the Mustangs coming off a tough loss to the University of Mary. The Mustangs now could focus ahead and look ahead to this Saturday's game versus the University of Minnesota, Crookston. And joining us, as always, is the head coach of the Mustangs, Cory Sauter. SMSU, as you mentioned, losing to the University of Mary 43-24 this past Saturday during Egg Bowl at the Regional Events Center. A very tough loss for the Mustangs. They held a 24-17 lead going into the fourth quarter, but a 26-point outburst by the Marauders stunned the Mustangs, and the Mustangs fall to 1-2 overall and 1-2 in the conference. And Coach, we've talked a lot the last couple of days about this tough setback for the guys, and you really played a very solid 3 quarters. And into the fourth quarter, you have a lead. It's even tied in the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. And of all your years of coaching and playing, it's kind of a strange fourth quarter and a tough one to swallow.
It was a tough one to swallow. We played 3 really good quarters of Mustang football, and really all season long we've been playing 3 good quarters of Mustang football. Our first game against Duluth, our second game against Northern State, and now against the University of Mary. And when we play to the level we're capable of playing, we can play with pretty much anybody in our conference. However, games are 60 minutes long, and that was the disappointing thing. We played so well for so long in that ball game. We had them down. We had them on the ropes. We had an opportunity to go up by double-digit points, and we missed that opportunity. And it's just one that does sting. It's never fun to lose a game, but to lose in this fashion against a team that we played so well for so long and came out on the short end. So it's going to take us a little while to get over it. We did have a good day of practice yesterday, which is what we needed. We just needed to get back on the practice field more than anything.
Yeah, again, the Mustangs trailed early 7-0, came back, tied it, then trailed 10-7, and then tied it up at 10-10, and then took the lead 17-10 at halftime, and then scored midway through the third quarter to take a 24-17 lead. And you look at a lot of different plays, Coach, and we talk about this pretty much every week. In this conference, the teams are so closely matched that a play or two is going to make a difference. You look in the third quarter, a chance you had 1st and 10 at the Mary 15-yard line. If you score, you go up by 14 points or a field goal. We don't take advantage of either one of those opportunities, and then Mary comes back, gets a quick play and score. And then you have to go into the wind. Obviously the wind wasn't as strong as it was against Northern State 2 weeks ago, but it does play a factor. And obviously going into the fourth quarter, facing a tough wind is tough to overcome as well. And just that momentum of the Marauders was tough to overcome.
It was, the night before the game, we talked about, just moments of opportunity, windows of opportunity that are going to present themselves in the ball game. And sure enough, in that third quarter, we had an opportunity to really open that thing up. I mean, if you go up by 14, that changes everything. And momentum is such a big thing, especially in college football, because you're working with athletes that are younger, 18 to 22 years old, and a bad play can spiral into several bad plays if you're not smart enough to overcome some of those things. So I think we kind of pressed a little bit. I know offensively we struggled getting a first down. We couldn't get a first down in the fourth quarter, and we just couldn't get in a rhythm whatsoever. And really wasn't a change of plays or anything that they did. I think we self-destructed more than anything, and that was the disappointing part of this past game, is just the fact that we're capable of playing really good football, and there's no reason why we can't do it in that fourth quarter. And we've got to get much better in the red zone. There's a couple opportunities where we had to settle for a field goal. We ended up kicking the 42-yarder. We had an opportunity there. We were on first and goal from the 8-yard line there, and we ended up losing 17 yards on a sack. So we got to get better in the red zone. We've got to be able to get 7 points from those situations more often than not. That's an area that we've been really good at over the years. For whatever reason, we haven't been able to do it this year.
And you talk about each week winning that turnover battle, and for the second straight week, Mustangs a +1 in turnover margin. It's the first time, I believe the statistics that I looked up since I think it was 2004 2005 season, that we've had back-to-back plus in turnover margin. Unfortunately, we didn't come out with the victory, but defense got some interceptions that you needed to stop a drive in that third or second quarter to stop a scoring threat for Mary. Went down 98 yards and scored. Then Donovan Woods picks up his first career interception, and he really had that momentum going. And through those 3 quarters, the defense doing a very good job against a very high-powered Mary offensive attack.
Well, we knew Mary was going to be able to score points and move the football and all that. It was just a matter of trying to just contain them and slow them down a little bit. But when you throw in the fact that we got some turnovers, I mean, that's huge. I mean, they get rid of the ball so quickly that it's hard to get pressure on them. And we did come up with those 2 critical interceptions that allowed us an extra possession, so to speak. And so I was really excited about that part of it. But then in the fourth quarter, we struggled just stopping the run. They made a few adjustments. They did some kind of quick huddle, get up to the line type plays, and we didn't adjust very well. And they were able to stay on the field and convert some critical third downs. And and that fourth quarter was just the whole game itself. When you look at the final score and that whole thing, you would have thought, if you watch the first 3 quarters, you would have thought there's no way they lost by the margin that we did. And so it's just one of those things. We've got to get past it. I know one that I took pretty hard personally, because it's just one that we put so much effort into. We had a great week of practice. The guys were into it. Great meetings. The workouts or lifting sessions were phenomenal. Everybody was locked in, ready to go. I thought we were emotionally ready for that ball game. And it just didn't happen in that fourth quarter. And I've got to do a better job. Our coaching staff has to do a better job just getting them to play 4 good quarters. And if we do that, we're going to have some good football ahead of us.
Well, there were some positives, obviously, in the first 3 quarters of play. Mustangs were able to establish a running a game. You get Warren Matthews involved, coach, 78 yards rushing on just 11 carries. It had a nice reception for a touchdown. And in that receiving core, again, a lot of different guys caught passes in the contest, and it shows the versatility and the depth that we have at the wideout position and tight end position as well, to have so many different receivers that Tyler can throw to.
Yeah, well, it makes us a little more multi-dimensional in the fact that we don't have a guy they have to stop. When we look at Mary, everyone looks at number 88, their big receiver, who really wasn't a factor whatsoever. But within our offense, everyone's capable of making a play. Really, every single play has a primary, a secondary type receiver, and sometimes you're going to be the go-to guy in that play. Sometimes you're going to be more of a decoy, so to speak. And our guys really understand that part of it. They're not selfish players. They understand that when their number's called, they got to make the play, and at other times they're going to have to understand the concept well enough so that they don't just get in the way of another receiver, So that's what our guys have believed in, and they really execute our system pretty well. But all in all, just consistently, we need to make some things happen, especially when the game's on the line.
And you look at defensively, there's a few times during the game that I noticed, and definitely not an excuse. I think it shows some promise for the future, but there were certain times where we were very young on that defensive side of the football, and the guys are making plays. You look at A.J. Page, his first year in college football, and Graham Ketterling. You had Blake Pennick, first year in the Mustang program. He's a freshman. And on the corners, Donovan Woods. And, we've got some younger guys playing, Alex Burton at linebacker. I mean, these guys are getting some valuable snaps and learning here at a fast time at the college level. And with losing so many seniors from last year, you knew that was going to be. But, again, the guys are there. They're flying around, and they're making some plays, and it's going to help in the long run.
Yeah, and there's a learning curve just like any other position, but when you look at our defense, it's hard not to get excited about the rest of this year and going into years down the road. The guys that we have lining up playing are very athletic. They're very eager to learn. They're into it. It doesn't take a whole lot to get them motivated to do their job, and that's what gets me excited. I believe that our defense is going to be, we've been known to have pretty decent offenses over the years, but that might change, here in the next year or so, and the fact that our defense might be better than our offense, and so that's encouraging. That, and the fact that our defense hopefully will be able to create some continued turnovers as well as less points on the board, and ultimately get off the field on third downs.
Yeah, again, the Mustangs falling to the University of Mary 43-24, a game that the score obviously not indicative of the competitiveness of the ball game, but the Mustangs do fall to the Marauders. University of Mary now 3-0 on the season. Now let's take a look at the highlights from this past Saturday's game. The Mustangs open up here in the first quarter down 7-0, Coach. A nice drive by the University of Mary, but you're able to bounce back quickly here with this pass to Warren Matthews.
Yep, this is just a throwback to our running back, and catches the ball. Once he gets in his hand, he's pretty dangerous. He makes their guy miss and takes to the distance. But it all starts with the pass protection. You'll see that here from the end zone view. We've got our left guard, Jake Thiel, pulling around from the left guard position, coming around, making sure nothing gets in our quarterback's way. We get the ball out. Warren does a nice job juking the guy, high-stepping it, and putting on his speed to get in the end zone.
Longest touchdown reception by a Mustang running back since the 2010 season when Gannon Moore had an 80-yard touchdown. Mustang defense, A.J. Page, career-high tackles. Here's one for loss.
Yep, A.J. had a solid game. He had a few plays that we felt he could make, but this was one that he was able to force and create a tackle for loss.
Yeah, fought through his block and got the tackle for loss. And here's Donovan Woods, redshirt freshman, had an interception later in the game, but breaks up a pass here in the end zone.
Yeah, he's one of our best cover guys, just all-around corner. He's going to be a phenomenal player for us as he progresses, but you can see he's right there on coverage, gets his hand in the mix, and makes sure that guy doesn't come down with the ball.
Final play of the first quarter, Tyler Prashon on third down. Third and long finds Adam Olson for a first down.
These are tough to convert. Anytime you're third and 10 plus, you don't have too many things that you can get to, especially holding up pass protection wise. But you can see Tyler in the pocket, steps up, slides to his right, and finds the guy coming across the field. And that was just a heck of a throw and catch.
14-yard gain for Olson. Mustangs trail 10-7 into the second quarter. Now the wind to the Mustang back, and Lance Schweiler boots a career-long 42-yard field goal.
Yeah, ball's in the middle of the field. This was after taking a big sack, and Lance just nails it right down the pipe. He's been kicking well for us, and it's just good to see him hit a long one. He's had some of the shorter ones in his career, but this is really one that's going to help his confidence down the road.
That ties the game at 10, and now we go on the defensive side, and Deshaun Miller and Alex Burton, a couple of newcomers this year for the Mustangs, making a tackle.
Yep, two young guys that'll be with us here for a while, and we're excited that our linebacker core is playing well as a unit, and they're really starting to understand the concepts that we have on defense.
One of the seniors on the Mustang squad, Durante Smith, with a great open field tackle.
Yep, and these are always nice to see, especially from your corner position. A lot of times your corners are known as being soft players, but Durante gets off the block, makes the tackle, and isn't afraid to get his nose in the mix.
Later on the drive, big play by Joe Stupka, third career interception, and down here at the 2-yard line, top of your screen.
Big play, stop from them getting points and giving us the possession here. We got to drive 98 yards now, but we'll take that any day. With the turnover, and Joe's playing really good football right now. Both from the run game and the pass coverage standpoint.
So the Mustangs get the stop. Now, as you mentioned, go 98 yards and a big third down pickup. Here's Pashon to Matthews.
And this is, difference between keeping a drive alive and going to the sideline. We get some pressure in our quarterback's face. We get it out. We get some nice blocks on the perimeter, and we're able to keep the chains moving. And
great block by Abe Costa, number 5.
Absolutely. He does. He's not a very big kid, but he's not afraid to get in there, cuts the guy just enough to get Warren to the outside.
Mustangs pick up the first down, and the Mustangs convert here on the touchdown pass, Bashan to Anthony Dean.
Get a little bit of a double move by Anthony Dean, and degree of difficulty, tough catch for him. He had to go up and over a defender, but he missed one earlier in the game. He made up for it within the same drive, and it was good to see that he was able to make that play.
Yeah, Mustangs have the momentum now, lead 17-10 heading into the halftime break. And we start off now in the third quarter. Mustangs go on defense, and one of the hardest hits you'll see here by Joe Stupka, a good clean hit, and this was something to see.
Yeah, I mean, he just ran right through the receiver. I mean, just hit him square. There was no glancing off right or left. Joe read it. This is one of their most popular pass plays, and they saw it earlier in the game, and he came downhill and was all over it, and it was just a tremendous hit and gets your defense going at the same time.
J.J. Bobowitz here later in the drive with a tackle for loss, and this was going to be a big play in the game, we thought.
Right, and it's credit to really all of our guys, our defensive front. Bobo ends up getting off the block, but it all starts up with those four guys up front, creating some pressure.
Marauders able to complete a 3rd and long for a touchdown to tie the game, but the Mustangs on their next drive regain it on this 33-yard touchdown pass, Bashan to Abe Koss.
Nice job by Tyler, being able to step up in the pocket, making a throw down the field, on the move, coming forward. The degree of difficulty on that is pretty amazing. Abe had the concentration to come down with it, but you can see we get a little pump fake, we're rolling to our right, we step forward and push the ball down the field, and it's nice to see them capitalize on a mistake by the Marauders.
And Mustangs had the momentum, a 7-point lead. Donovan Wood's first career interception here on the near sideline.
Yep, ball just basically is thrown to him, but still you got to come down with it, and he did have to leap for it and everything, but he'll have plenty more in his career. He's a good player and a smart player as well, and it was good to see him get this first one out of the way.
Mustangs were continuing now to drive after that interception and a big pass here, Bashan. Great catch by Tyler Erickson.
Tell you what, Tyler Erickson has a knack, and it's almost like it's always to this side of the field as well. At home, you see him making so many of these. He makes them look easy, but Erickson's a bigger body receiver, and he just kind of bounces off guys and kind of tough to bring down as well.
And in another catch right back, and this is an amazing reception as well for a 24-yard game.
Yeah, he comes back with even a harder catch, leaping over the defender, reaching to the back of the defender's back and pulling the ball over the top and still holding on to the football. It's fun to watch. Again, he's kind of has that knack to just go up and catch balls up and over defenders, and it's good to see him playing well.
3 catches for Erickson, 41 yards. End of the third quarter, and now the Mustangs on the defensive side. And again, the Mustangs not able to pick up much offensively in the fourth quarter, but a couple of stops here. A.J. Page tips a pass and nearly gets an interception.
Right, they just try to run a little naked boot to their left. A.J. gets his big long arms up while containing the quarterback, which is good to see. And once the ball's up for grabs, anything can happen. It was good to see that happen.
Blake Pennick and Mark Schulmeyer with the tackle for loss, so right at the line of scrimmage, number 50 and 43.
Right, and they did a nice job stringing the play out and minimizing the gain on that play. And again, there's not a whole lot of highlights in this fourth quarter, but you can see here, guys are playing hard till the end, and that's a positive sign despite the score in that fourth quarter.
There's A.J. Page making the tackle there for the Mustangs, but they fall 43-24 to the University of Mary. Defensively, Tate Bunkers led SMSU statistically with 12 tackles in the ball game. Bobowitz and Pennick each had 9, while A.J. Page and Deshaun Miller each with 8 tackles in the ball game for SMSU, which again falls to 1-2 on the season. And a couple of offensive numbers: SMSU 345 yards of total offense in the game, 20 first downs, but just 4 of 13 on third down conversions, and a lot of those in the fourth quarter, Coach. But that's something obviously that you've got a certain goal that you want each week, and the last couple of weeks just been tough to keep some of those third down conversions, keep the Mustangs on the field.
Yeah, it's a percentage game. It's just like anything else. The shorter the third down conversion that you need to convert is, your percentages go up. And so with that being said, we've had a lot of third and longs, over the last couple of weeks, and that's just not good enough. We've got to be able to get good yardage on first and second down. So now it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Put us in a multi-dimensional situation where we can run and pass in that scenario. But and on the flip end, they ended up converting, I think, 9 of 13, somewhere in that range, and they had a 3rd and 16, a 3rd and 15 that they converted. One was for a touchdown, and so that just cannot happen. I mean, it's hard to convert those, and we got to be able to find a way to get off the field, find a way to stay in rhythm and stay on the football field.
Yeah, and of course, we talked about your depth being, so much better here in the last few years, and we saw that again. One of your offensive linemen was dinged up during the ball game, but Alex Cedro was able to come in and help keep that offense going, and that's great to see. A few years ago, really didn't have much of that, but great depth there as well, and you're seeing guys coming in on defense as well and making some plays. So we'll see what transpires this weekend. The Mustangs, as Coach mentioned, you got that day or two to think about it, but you got to move forward. And practice has already begun for this week's game at Minnesota Crookston. The Mustangs taking on the Golden Eagles. UMC is 0-3 on the season, and it's a 1 o'clock kickoff up in Crookston, and a lot of different things to think about, Coach. You're on your first overnight road trip of the season, so you go up there Friday and get a good meal and watch some film and prepare for meetings and have an early kickoff at 1 o'clock. But the Golden Eagles, they're a team that have got a new head coach, and they've got a dynamic running back who is one of the top running backs in the conference, and they're hungry obviously to try to get that first victory of the season, and they're at home. It's homecoming. There's a lot of things that guys need to be focused on here for the Mustangs to prepare, because nobody's going to feel sorry for us after coming off a tough loss.
Right. They're a team that's, in my opinion, dangerous, because they did lose pretty handily to 2 teams, but against Concordia, it was a tight ball game. It went late in the fourth quarter, and finally Concordia was able to pull it out. But they do have some talent. They do have some nice schemes, both on offense and defense. They got a running back that's very capable of going wild, so to speak. And an area that we've struggled over the years is just run defense, and so we'll be tested early and often, with that end of it. By no means is there going to be a mentality of we just go up there and show up and play this team. They're capable of playing well. They've got some guys that are capable of making plays, and they've got scholarships on their roster, and we do as well. And we've got to go up there and be focused more than anything, because we're playing on grass or overnight. We're playing a team that on paper has a worse record than you, and the easiest thing to do, or the typical thing that happens, is what do? You just start to relax, and all of a sudden it's a tight ball game in the fourth quarter, and then guys start to panic, and that's the last thing we want to put ourselves into. We want to make sure we get off to a great start. We set the tone early. We've got some good players in our program. We've got to play to that same level that we've had over the past couple of weeks, as far as intensity and drive and focus and all that, and just finish ball games more than anything, because we've played, like I said, we've played some really good football, some of the best that I've seen just as a whole, when you look at offense, defense, and special teams. Now we just got to put it together, and it'll be a challenge, no question, and I want our guys to be hungry and ready to go.
As you mentioned, is it a big factor? You are playing on grass, and we joke about this back when our playing days. Who would ever thought that your first game of the season on grass would be week 4? But that's the way that the sport has evolved. Is that a big difference for the guys, or turf, grass? Does it make a real big difference at all? And I would say about conditions, we've played in it all so far this year. We've had had perfect conditions and sunny and hot, but we've also had incredibly wind. And knowing Crookston, it's probably going to be pretty windy on Saturday as well.
Right, it's pretty open there. I mean, it's one of those deals. It looks like on film that the grass is pretty tall as well, and so it does slow you down. The footing is a little bit different. Back in the day, everybody had grass, and playing on a AstroTurf field was kind of the change-up. Yeah. Well, it's flip-flop now, and your footing isn't as exact. And what does that do? Well, it can make a difference in some of the passing game as far as getting in and out of routes, running backs being able to make certain cuts that they're accustomed to, and so it does make a factor. We do have grass practice fields here as well that we work on, so it's one of those things where we've got to just understand the surface we're playing on and don't take that for granted, because it can be a factor if you allow it to.
Yeah, again, the Mustangs in Minnesota Crookston, the first of 2 straight road games for the Mustangs. They'll play at the University of Sioux Falls to wrap up the month of September before returning home for homecoming against Wayne State on the first weekend of October. Again, the Mustangs and Golden Eagles, 1 o'clock kickoff from Whitsett Field in Crookston. You can follow the Mustangs at smsumustangs.com with live stats and audio and video. So go to that to watch the Mustangs if you can't make it up to Crookston on Saturday. Thanks for watching this week's edition of the Cory Sauter Show. For the head coach, Cory Sauter, I'm Kelly Loft. Until next time, go Mustangs.